Life Audio.
Today on Talk About That, John tries to come up with a new name for potluck dinners and has an idea to revolutionize frozen yogurt shops. Meanwhile, I have questions about an Olympic sledding event and tell the story of Clara Peller, the actress from the Wendy's Where's the Beef commercials in the 80s. Plus a conversation about what it really means to have faith like a child and why it's important to make the church a safe place to ask questions. Today's episode is not sponsored by hammocks. Are you relaxed or trapped?
Jonnie, it's a rainy day, but it's all sunshine. I'll talk about that.
Well, yeah, because we're indoors.
Well, but that doesn't mean there's sunshine.
It's not sunshine. It's like these artificial lights. These are like those seasonal affective disorder lights.
Yeah.
Do you think those have the same effect? The ones that are the ring lights that we have on us?
I doubt it.
If you watch on video, you would see these.
That was a good plug.
Do you think the reason for the ring lights, right, is because it puts little circles in your eyes, right? Isn't that what people want?
I don't know. Is that the reason?
I think that's part of it.
Oh.
It's why it's not just a beam.
Oh.
It's because it also gives that little, it's like a photo, because you can see in the glassiness of someone's eye, you can see the ring of light.
Boy, that'll preach.
Uh-huh.
I really don't know what the science is behind the ring lights. I've not thought it through like you have.
It makes me feel better.
Does it?
No,
it doesn't.
There are not enough of these to make me feel better.
It's going to take a whole lot of ring lights to make Jonnie
But
feel
I'm glad
better.
to be indoors, and I'm grateful for shelter
That's
today,
good.
because it's a little bit messy out.
Yeah, we were coming from breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like just barely a trickle.
Yeah.
And then before we could get to the cars, it was a deluge. And then we pulled up here to pull underneath under the overhang. And our community director, Chris, parked his van like just blocking the whole thing. He just hogged it all.
Yeah.
And
selfish.
I hope he's listening, because we were infuriated.
With his big, dumb minivan.
Ugh.
Chris
is literally the nicest guy that I've ever met.
We're picking on him for no reason.
He's like a war hero. And
yeah. Is it deluge or deluge?
Deluge.
Deluge?
I don't know habla francais.
When you were... I think I won gold in the Winter Olympics in deluge.
Deluge.
The one that I didn't like was when they just stack a guy on another guy. You've seen that one? The luge doubles.
Oh, yeah.
They just stack a guy on top of you and send him down there. That's not.
It seems like something that we'd have done as kids with like our siblings and got in trouble for.
You've only got one luge.
Right. So it's like,
is that what it's called? Is the thing called the luge?
Hey, Larry.
Is the act of racing called a luge, or is the board that you get on called a luge?
I don't know. Is the whole sport luge?
Yeah.
Or is it a luge? And there's really no way to know. We could never find out.
It's an illusion. I don't know. But yeah, I wonder why. They probably stopped short of the 3. You know, they'd be like, okay.
Right.
Because they were like, what about a 3rd?
Like a Big Mac out of this. Right.
No, that's not.
You don't want to.
People knew that's not. The guy on the bottom is now, he can't.
Right.
We won. Like it's not. You put the big guy down there.
When are the Winter Olympics?
Winter, John.
Yeah, but you see, we're in.
It's the off year of the. We had 2020, which didn't happen until 2021, which was weird because when it was on TV, they were having to show 2020 on all the because they were already pre-made.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Wasn't that strange?
Yeah.
Everything was strange.
Did we have winter in 22 though? The Olympics?
I don't remember.
That's how little you and I watch Winter Olympics, and that's sad.
I don't remember. So that would mean it wouldn't be till 2026. When it's coming back around.
Right.
Unless they've pushed it.
Unless it didn't happen.
Maybe because it happened in 2021, they pushed it to this winter.
Maybe it's going to be this winter.
Listen, you know what? I commit to you. I will watch it if it's coming this year.
It's just like the commitment you make to set up those calls with all of our patrons.
Yes.
Same kind of thing.
That's coming. Patrons, we love you so much. If you want to be a patron, go to Talk. Now that John's acted like you don't get anything. Good grief.
Guys, I'm here to be your advocate against Johnny's tyranny. I'm here.
Hey, what if you advocated for your friend?
Well, Jonnie,
instead of trying to throw me under the bus.
If you wouldn't quit, if you would just stop making empty promises, I wouldn't have to throw you under the bus.
Go to talkaboutthatpodcast.com and click on that button that says support. And that's where you can get ad-free content. And
we are obviously the kind of operation you'd like to support.
Special Special gifts from us. John sends books. I send things.
I do send books, and you do send things.
I've sent comedy specials over the.
You
over
did
the
send
years.
that to all of the patrons. That is true.
And I even sent my journal, my handy dandy journal.
And that was in the last few months.
Yes.
Wow.
So I don't want to hear it.
You know what? I withdraw.
I will say this: none of the patrons have complained, so I don't know what your problem is.
Well, that is true. You know what? The main complaint they could have made is to stop being a patron, and if they didn't, we could just assume everything's great.
That's right. If you've hung on,
if we don't hear from you,
you forgot. It's such a small amount, you just don't notice it. That's how these people get you, by the way.
That's how we get them.
We don't want to be those people though that are like, hey, join for 7 days, and then you try to join like Stars or whatever for 7 days so you can watch your show.
If you want to cancel, call this number and wait on hold for 30 minutes. Right.
So they never do, and then so when the $7 goes out of your account, you're like, do we still have Stars?
I don't. What were we watching?
Yeah. And then you try to cancel it, and then you cancel it, and then they go, season 2, and you go, dang it.
I got to get it. Oh, we just now got Paramount Plus back, which I had canceled.
Is that a new one, Paramount Plus back?
I had canceled it because I canceled a bunch of stuff. Okay. And I also found, by the way, that my Comcast, not a sponsor, that I was paying double. They had started adding rando streaming services into my. I was wondering why my bill was getting
Rando. I've got Rando Plus.
It was.
It's a good one.
But like I was paying for Netflix in 2 places.
Yeah.
They just started randomly charging me for Netflix after I was already paying for Netflix. So
you only need Netflix in one place.
You only needed one. That's And so anyway, we just.
But was it because Laura had an account too?
No.
Okay.
Didn't
you say you both had a Hulu? Didn't you say that when you went looking, you found that you both had a Hulu?
No.
You both had a Canva or something?
We both had a Canva, yes. Yeah.
So whose fault was that, John? Was that Comcast?
No, the Canva was our fault.
Okay.
But the streaming services were their fault.
Yeah.
What probably had happened is we were on a trip or something, and when you go to sign in on one of your hotel TVs or whatever, it says choose your TV provider or whatever.
Right.
And so most likely it just decided to open up another account because we chose Xfinity. And I'm like, you know what? No.
I think you would have to enter your credit card numbers and all that.
Because it takes it to your Xfinity bill. So it just adds it to that bill.
Man.
And guys,
it's very insidious.
Listen, I liked the service when it worked.
Yeah.
But when it didn't and you had to make a change, you can't get it. So
here's the thing. These major companies, they have like lawyers and accountants and people that try to figure out ways to trick you into spending more money. That's not us. And here's how I know. We're not smart enough.
That's true.
If you want to support the show, fine. If you don't, fine. But we're not smart enough to try to trick you into supporting the show.
And the other piece of evidence is we're not making any money.
No.
We lose money every month on this.
Yes.
As of right now.
But we're climbing up that hill. We're like Sisyphus. We're pushing a big ring light up a hill.
There's a Sisyphus for the Risyphus.
Yeah, there really is.
Oh, that's great.
And then we'll roll down on a luge. No, you don't roll.
If you roll your luge,
that's bad. That's what killed Dad. It is. He was on the bottom of a 3-man luge, and he was a 3-time loser. Wait, that's stupid.
What a loser! I bet that's a common joke among the.
I actually
community.
had a joke. I remember the Winter Olympics. I made a joke on my Twitter, and it came up in my memories the other day, and it was something about I want to make a show about former Olympians who have gained all their weight. They've gained a bunch of weight, and they're trying to lose it. And he goes, I can't remember. I said, I can't decide whether to call it the Biggest Loser or the Blobsled. That's so dumb. The Biggest Loser would be.
That'd be good.
Because you're trying to get trim again
in
your Winter Olympic form.
You are the biggest loser right now.
Right. But you hope by the end
to be
slim and trim. And
right. See, it's a play on the words.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a word play or a pun? That's a word play.
Well, nobody wants to say they wrote a pun because puns people think of as like something you'd say on like a Laffy Taffy rapper.
Yeah, they're the lowest form of comedy.
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana.
Right.
Kind of a thing.
That's a pun.
Yeah. It's dumb. Whatever it is, I'm not pretending it's high art.
No. Did it get a lot of likes or?
I don't remember. Well, I didn't have the following then that I do now.
Oh, wow.
Let me go. I'll workshop it today. With my new gigantic,
huge
throng of followers.
Oh my goodness!
My channel did grow some last week, which was really weird. It popped it doubled.
Yeah.
In a week.
That was me.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if it will affect the show's numbers, Because you would think these people would go
you'd have
like
to actually
seek
post about the show, wouldn't you? I'm sick of it, Johnny. I'm coming down hard on. We're reversing roles today. I've been hard on Johnny.
Man.
Every once in a while,
is it the
it
rain?
happens.
Is it the storming?
I don't know what it is.
It's brought out.
I'm just feeling an extra bit of pluck today.
Yeah,
so
I don't like this, John. Can you bring back my
Can
friend?
you bring back my friend? Hey, speaking of bringing back friends,
yes,
we have friends that help us every week as sponsors for the podcast.
Yes,
did you know that?
I did.
Oh,
I listened to them. I think it's we're very grateful for their support.
Yeah, maybe we should hear from them right now.
Okay.
And that was awesome.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Not having known what it was.
Right. We didn't get to hear that on our end right now.
Yeah.
But we will later.
We say that hoping it's not like a My Pillow ad or something.
That would have been awkward.
Didn't we talk about that when we joined up with them? We're like, hey, we want control over it's not going to get too crazy, is it? Like we kind of had to say certain things were off the table.
Yeah.
John wanted CBD gummies. I said, are you sure? He's like, Michelob Ultra. I go, John,
what?
Do we need to have a talk? No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't, yeah.
But we didn't want anything divisive and political to be ads on our thing. So
we want to save all that for what we do.
Yes.
Right. We don't talk a lot. It's funny because these days, if you have a centrist conversation that acknowledges something you think needs to change, it really does get branded political.
Yeah, or you're giving points to the other side.
Yeah.
If you go, hey, that's not us. We shouldn't be doing that. You go, oh, so you want this guy in charge then? You go, I didn't say that at all.
Say that at all, right?
I just said we got to call out this behavior.
Well, we've always been more prone, and I don't know if this is a six thing for me, because sixes internalize personal responsibility, like what is required of me. And then we also want a safe system. We want our leaders, we're loyalists as long as the leaders are worthy of the loyalty. If they are, you can almost never get rid of us.
Yeah.
But if that system gets broken down, in general, especially a counterphobic six will say, no, this goes against what we all agreed was our principle. Yeah,
I would think of it as somebody who you're loyal to a fault, and then when you realize there's a bug in other words, we talked about this before with certain things, where when you realize this isn't a bug, this is a feature.
Yeah.
If you realize that it's broken, the system is working as it was supposed to, and I can't be here anymore, that's the kind of person that will become like a whistleblower.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, I can't believe they turned their back on the cause or whatever. And you're like, no, I didn't feel safe in the system, and I don't want other people in this system either. So you kind of become the righteous indignation of it all. Yeah.
And I think that's, for us, we've always wanted to hold our own tribe, or what people consider our own tribe. I think that's the only place we can reform.
Yeah.
And when we spend our energy trying to reform people who are on a completely opposite, ideological side of the spectrum than us, when we have no bedrock sharing of a foundation with them, we have no change in the pocket. I hate that expression. We have no credibility to speak into because we don't really share belief systems. But that's the thing. That's not change. Yelling at a side that you don't have any relationship with doesn't change anything. Having conversations with those that you have something of a like-minded shared belief system, that's actually where reform happens. And we talked about the cycles of reform in the church history before. That's the way it works. Mm-hmm. You have, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see me using my hands.
Oh.
But you have this moment where in church history, there's this revival, if you want to call it that, this renewal, this moment that things for good reasons go good directions. Mm-hmm. People are, repentive. The poor are served. The community is enriched. There's favor with all the people. And often there's persecution then from the powers that be, because it's disrupting the cultural mores around them, because they're bringing in a different way of seeing the world. And so power systems are shifted. But even in persecution, that often only accelerates that revival. Like, people become more true to their beliefs in that respect. And I'm taking all the spiritual out of this. I believe that is a Holy Spirit.
It's just about
inspired
movements.
thing, right?
Yeah.
The spiritual is a part of it. I'm saying that's what we see. Well, as that goes over time, it has to be systemized as it grows. So if you think about the early church, they go from 12 to 70, if not maybe 200, disciples in an upper room. We're not real sure exactly how many. To on one day, the day of Pentecost, now you have 3,000 believers after Peter preached. So you have to organize. This is the part that, for all of us who want to talk about, I guess, dismantling systems or deconstruction, there is a reason to construct and to organize. So they have to figure out what this is going to be, and that's the structure of the church. And so you see these early chapters of Acts, like, okay, now we're in formation. So we go from this revival to formation. I'm making up my own words for it. I don't know I've seen the things about this, but I'm making up the cycle as I go with my own words, Jonnie.
Yeah.
And so then you begin to see, though, once there's larger groups of people in organized systemic groups, then there's going to be something that is an abuse of that system or a misrepresentation of the values that the system was created to support.
Yeah.
As in like Acts chapter...
Or somebody using the system to enrich themselves or...
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we see within the first 10 chapters of Acts, like you have this discrimination among the distribution of the food between the Hebrew-speaking and the Greek-speaking widows, right? So already something in the system that's really good, feeding the poor or feeding the widows.
Yeah.
Now someone's being discriminated against. It wasn't intended by the system. It's the result of a system. Like it's going to have that. It's how they dealt with it. They corrected it and kept the right thing, put more people in place. But they didn't try to say, well, the system can't be wrong. I mean, guys, it's the church. They were like, well, okay, it's the church. It's yes, it needs correction all the time. So they kind of kept that repentive spirit from the beginning. But then as you get further into church history, and then all organizations do this, I'm just using the church as an example, then eventually whatever that is grows to a point where there's full-out corruption, and often someone is in charge now who doesn't value the systems of when it started. We're talking millions of people now. So if you go into, I think one of the worst things that ever happened to the church was it becoming the official religion of the Roman Empire under Constantine. Even if he had pure motives, like it was never... Yeah. Like it's no longer the upstart, grassroots, heart-based, change-based. It's not counterculture. It became culture. Yeah. And once something becomes culture, now you can shift the values because you can leave the values behind. And so there's corruption. There's you keep going in church history. There's using it for political means, using it for governmental means, war to come after your enemies, whether they're ethnic, whether they're political. Used for inquisitions, used for all kinds of horrible things. And then this is that part of the cycle that I wanted to get to. Then there's a moment where there's a new revival or a new remembrance where God brings back, like, guys, this is not what this is about. And the cycle starts again. But instead of starting and building up to systemic stuff, it starts and tries to address or correct the system through reform. And it's so necessary. And so it gets reformed now, and throughout all of church history, there's always been a moment of reformation. It's not just the Reformation as we think of it. And so then that Reformation now is kind of starting the cycle all over, but it has to start building systems too. If it's worth its salt, it's going to have more people. And now what do you got to do? You have to start organizing in. And the goal would be, as you organize, to build systems where the ideologies, the truth that you all ascribe to, in our particular case, the gospel that calls us to personal and collective repentance remains what we actually do every day, and not just, now we have property, now we have buildings, how do we manage this? Now we have lots of people, now we have responsibilities, now we have influence in the culture. Those are the things that can get you off the scent. If you're going to have those things, there has to be like a true intentionality, I think, to not hold to them too tightly, to hold them loosely, to be willing to let them go, to be willing to lose all. Because if you stop being the last and you decide now it's time for us as Christians to be the first, then you actually undo the teachings of Jesus, and you're going to just keep going in the cycle towards corruption and hopefully back into Reformation later. So, sorry, Jonnie, little church in my opinion, a very important cycle for us to pay attention to for where we are right now.
Yeah, and like when you call out, like you say, when you call out something, it's like it's important that to keep the right attitude. When somebody's saying, I think this part of American evangelicalism needs reform, then it's almost like the shields go up sometimes with people. They feel like this person's just wanting to be a heretic, or that, like,
right.
It's just a strange reaction when you just go, like, look at my claim on its face. Do you see this problem? Versus just like immediately getting defensive. We talked about that before, about how, like, I don't love the term deconstruction because it's been so overused that it's almost like lost its meaning. But there was such a backlash against, like, this generation, the generation before, starting to deconstruct things, which everybody wrestles with the faith of their upbringing. They've put a name to it. It's a social media, phenomenon too, as far as like the information's all out there. But I just think, like, to attack people who are in many ways bruised felt a little bit, I didn't love that reaction. These people just want to sin. They want to justify. They have itching ears. That may be true of some of them.
Right.
But I feel like that's a really broad brush, because I've known a lot of people who were like, they felt like deconstruction happened to them. They just couldn't, the questions became too great as far as like an abusive faith, a schism of the faith that they grew up in. They couldn't reconcile it with the gospel of the Bible.
Yeah.
And so they were having to answer these questions, and they were doing it in therapy and doing it sometimes with a Christian counselor. And now they're going to be attacked of just like, well, you just want to justify your horrible lifestyle. No, not necessarily. Like, I just want to figure out, why don't these things jibe that I was raised to believe, but I don't see it happening in the modern church? Like, we need to talk about that. So I just think it's a spectrum. There's a lot of people who are doing things for different reasons, but just to attack people just because they are having questions, I feel like that's not what Jesus would have even done.
No.
A lot of people had questions,
John the Baptist had questions.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we kind of miss that allowance by God you go back to Gideon. I have questions. Can you make the dew fall on the wool? And then, okay, one more time. Don't be mad at me. Can you make it do the opposite? Just so I'll know. You go back to Moses. Moses would ask questions. I don't think I'm the guy. Are you sure I'm the guy you're supposed to go? Here, throw your staff down. And he shows them signs. And they're not ever, like, the signs have a place. But the questions were not rejected. I mean, God might even correct you, like, hey, I made you in your mouth, so don't tell me that you're not able. Like, I know what you're able to do. Mm-hmm. But it really was empowerment. It wasn't in that correction, in that discipline. I mean, all the way, I think, to the disciples, asking the questions as they did. I mean, in John the Baptist, Jesus said there's no greater person in, the kingdom that at that time to say, are you really him?
Yeah.
After you had sent all your disciples to follow him, because he's in suffering, he's in jail, and Jesus is not getting him out. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be beheaded. Like, is this really what you intended? Is what he's saying. Like, maybe I missed it, but I thought, and I think we got to remain curious as well. Like, it's okay if you stop being curious. It's something in a book that I'm working on now. If you stop being curious, man, it shuts down really the childlike elements of faith. If you guys don't listen to the Lectio 365 app, we do it as a staff now, and in the mornings especially. And this morning they were talking about Jesus pulling the child into the circle of disciples in the conversation about who will be the greatest, and that's the thing. Like, curiosity is one of those elements of childhood wonder that when we as believers, and that's why Jesus said you got to have faith like a child. He didn't mean childish faith. Mm-hmm. Childlike faith is steeped in wonder and curiosity. Like, you stay. So there's this, like, I trust and I believe, and I have things that really feel unshakable. But as I move forward, there are going to be other things that I'm going to continue to explore that are related to that, but may not be the same. One of my favorite quotes, Jonnie. I want to make sure I do it right. It's from Rupertus Meldenius, a 17th century Lutheran theologian.
Oh, we all remember him.
Of course. Rupertus. In essentials, unity. In doubtful things, liberty. In all things, love. Imagine if all of the arguments politically or religiously right now were put through this lens or this filter.
Yeah.
In essentials, we're going to have unity. I think for the church, I mean, to me, that's like the Apostles' Creed. I believe in God Almighty, the Father, the creator of all things, Jesus Christ, his only son. You go through, like, that's why we have creeds and things. So we would understand what is essential and what's in doubt, the doubtful things. But right now we are at war over doubtful things. So we're taking the opposite approach of showing liberty or curiosity to one another in doubtful things. Instead of like being unified in the essentials and being like give room to breathe on the doubtful things. You don't have to land where somebody lands, but you also don't have to treat doubtful things like essential things.
Yeah.
I think when we do that, we're in trouble. When if your thing is not found in the Apostles' Creed, that's for me a red flag. If like the thing you will separate yourself from other believers or downplay other believers,
it's
or
your
condemn,
key issue. It's your thing. Yeah.
Right. And if you can't find it in those, it's in some other statement that you've made and not in what the church has followed for 2,000 years, then you might go, maybe I am making more out of a doubtful thing than I should be as the person who leans into the unity of the essentials. And that's my take on it. Thank you, Robertus.
I feel like you're talking to me.
Jonnie, I think you know I've called you here. This was an intervention.
Rupertus.
I wonder if you say Rupertus or Rupertus.
Don't say it 3 times in a mirror. He appears and he gives you creeds and things. He decrees things over you. We don't decree things anymore. Don't you think that's a bummer?
No kidding. I think we should
Don't
bring
you
back...
want somebody to decree something?
Desperately.
I mean, we declare.
Yeah.
Mostly bankruptcy. But
Michael, you can't just say bankruptcy. No, I didn't just say it. I declared it. Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor. Yeah, it's interesting. What if I made a decree Sunday morning, like when I made the announcement about the new young adults group?
I would like to decree something.
Yeah.
How would you even set it? How do you get into a decree?
Hey, guys.
Because if you call it a decree, like usually it's somebody that says, John decreed this. You wouldn't say, I guess you do say, I hereby decree.
Or I hereby make this decree.
Okay.
Like I could be like, look, guys, okay, don't forget about the potluck. Also, I have a decree to make.
I don't know. See, you're already losing me. It feels, you're already, first of all, potluck.
Oh, I hate it. We had a whole conversation at the table about it.
How do you talk about a potluck without calling it a potluck? Wasn't that always our...
Oh, yeah,
That's the paradigm? That's the paradox?
The best thing I ever landed on to rebrand potluck was food share.
Oof.
But it made...
That sounds like...
like Chris was like, I'm sick to my stomach thinking of that. It's like we're all literally eating off the same plate.
Or it sounds like you're doing it to like help needy people. Food share.
Oh, what's wrong with that, Jonnie?
Nothing. But
my gosh.
But it doesn't feel like a potluck. It doesn't feel like a family picnic. It feels like family picnic. I think I just solved it.
But it's not always a picnic. It's often
That's true,
indoors.
And potluck means you bring something. So if you say picnic, it could be like, are they providing everything?
Right.
I got to bring bologna now?
Food bring. Like, I need you to help. I need you to not just point out what's wrong with it.
I don't even understand how potluck got to mean that. Like, what does that mean? Like, were people bringing unlucky pots? Like, you lift the lid and they go, oh boy,
oh man,
she made her black beans. That's bad news for everybody. You know what I mean? Right. But if you lift it up and it's like, oh, collard greens, potluck.
Yeah.
Like, what is, where did that come from? There's no way to know.
I would love to know the etymology of potluck. That would be something right now I could stop and search. But we live in curiosity on this podcast.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We don't just try to find all the answers.
Sometimes it's in the not knowing.
Yeah.
We don't know what a black hole looks like. We don't know what an exploding star looks like. And we don't want to know where potluck came from.
I really do kind of want to know. But listener, if you have a better name for potluck.
Oh, please. That'd be great. That'd be a contest.
Because we actually address.
If you get a better name for us, we'll read it on the air and John will send you a copy of his.
Oh, a copy of Johnny's new DVD.
Yes, that's right. I'd be happy to do that.
You don't have a new DVD.
I've got a special that I could send him though.
Oh.
We're actually releasing a little unreleased thing next Thursday. We're calling it a mini special.
Wow.
It's a 20-minute set that I recorded in 2021 or 2022. But anyway, we have never released it, and we're releasing it next Thursday.
Nice.
It's called Dead by Tuesday.
Yes.
That's what we're calling it. And so...
Is it all music?
No, it's just it's got some music in it.
Okay.
But it's one of those things of like, we were trying to come up with a name, and then my agents were like, what about this? And I go, that's really dark. I like it. And so now we're going to put it out there, and we'll see. But I was a little bit worried about it because it's got, it was in 2021, late 2021, so we're still coming out of, so it's got some pandemic setups in it.
Yeah.
And I worried a little bit about that, about people being reminded of, people like get really, they don't want to be reminded of it even in a joke.
No.
So anyway, if you see that, watch it and hopefully you'll like it. But it's one of those things where it's a time capsule, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But hopefully you'll like it. Dead by Tuesday.
It's a funny song.
Next Thursday.
Wait.
Which is weird.
Why didn't you not release it on a Tuesday?
And I don't know. And if we did it and then if I die like suddenly, it's going to be really weird. And you're going to be like, he knew.
Yeah.
You know?
And I will take that album and sell it.
Oh man,
like
it's
crazy.
It's going to be worth. Jonnie had a feeling he knew.
I'll go to Curry and I'll have her we'll work out a deal, bring a contract. It's going to be awesome. Not gross at all.
I don't think I would be a good, I don't think I'd be a good candidate to have premonitions because I always am dreading things.
Yeah.
So I think I would just be exhausting. Like if I was Nostradamus, I would just be like, something bad's probably coming. And they'd be like, this guy again. They would stop. I'm the boy who cried dead by Tuesday. That's what I am.
Yeah, that's kind of what Jeremiah was. They were all sick of it after a while. Like, dude, enough.
He's the weeping prophet.
We're not going to go into exile.
Wasn't he the weeping prophet?
Yep. Very frustrated because they wouldn't listen to him. And guys, I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
As a pastor. I'm just like Jeremiah.
Speaking of people in the past, John.
I think
it's time to go back into the past.
Oh, yeah.
All the way. This week in history, we'd like to talk about the things that, the days of yore.
Oh.
It's a segment we like to call Talk About Then. This week, 2006, John, a hot dog measuring 197 feet in a bun measuring 198 feet was made by the Shizuoka meat producers of Shizuoka, Japan, and the All Japan Bread Association. It broke the record for world's longest hot dog, which, I mean, you would imagine a hot dog that's 197 feet. I don't know. They probably shattered the record, wouldn't you think? Like, what do you're like, oh man, we just barely made it.
Yeah, I wanted to know, what was the record before?
The record was broken in 2011, 5 years later, by a hot dog measuring 669 feet.
Holy.
And weighing approximately 260 pounds. That's crazy. So.
Jeez.
Now, I think you know what your job is. It's to make a 700-foot
break the record
hot dog.
I want to know, is it a normal diameter of the hot dog, or is the...
I would think so, because it said it was 669 feet and it weighed 260 pounds.
How would you know?
Because you're thinking about a regular hot dog. You know, if you get like a big hot dog at Sonic, it might be a half pound in your hand. But so if you're thinking half pound per foot.
Good gosh, how big is your hot dog at Sonic?
I get a foot long, like
They're
a coney.
a half pound?
Maybe.
Does that mean you can guarantee to gain at least half a pound from it?
I don't know how that all works.
See, that always bothers me. Here's a quarter pounder, and I'll go home and gain 3 pounds. Now you tell me how that works.
It's the bread soaking up all the
come on, man,
bile, and
you should start labeling the food by how much weight I will gain from it. Hey,
thank you.
Here's a 3-pounder. It's not actually 3 pounds. It's how much you'll weigh more afterwards.
Didn't you have the idea of the ice cream places that you can add all the toppings and then they just weigh at the end, that they should just weigh you?
Right, coming in and leaving.
You come in, you eat all the ice cream you want, and you can't go to the bathroom.
Right, no bathrooms. Yeah.
Which is really odd. You've built some weird government building now. No bathrooms! No clocks! And then they come in and they weigh... What would happen is people would come in with like quarters in their pockets or whatever, and then they'd offload to the next guy. There'd be some tricks. There'd be some trickeration happening.
It would really complicate the system they've already made.
Yeah, but which is just to weigh the...
That's what I do, though. If I have a good idea, it's going to complicate things.
Why not just weigh me?
Right. Because that's the real. What are we getting at here? Like, what's more important?
Weigh you, weigh me, weigh it together. It's the way it should be. No, yeah, you're right. You made it. And plus, people don't like being weighed.
Right.
Because if you're in an ice cream place, you got a problem. And you're not. You know what I'm saying?
That's a bold statement.
You may be of the heavier.
Guys,
you may be of the heavier. Like, people who love ice cream a lot, we don't like being weighed. So it's not like be like, you know what? Let's go down to Yogurt Mountain and get weighed.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
I think it'd be. But here's what it is. It's a fitness ice cream shop.
Okay.
Those of you who want to, you're on a journey.
Yeah.
You're on a journey.
This lets you know where you are. It's like
Yeah.
a snapshot in time.
So nothing's going to, because again, sometimes I'll eat something. It's like, that could not have been 3 pounds, but the next day, and I know it's the water weight. I'm so sick of hearing about water weight, Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. Water
Well,
weight
we're made up
stuff.
of like 75% water.
Well, I know. That's the whole
So
point.
most of our weight is water.
Can't call it water weight then because I'm made out of water.
Most of the earth is water weight.
Heck.
When you think about it.
And you know how heavy the earth is?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know it's spinning. We're hanging on. All right. I don't know how we got all from hot dogs to the weight of the earth. We should weigh the earth as we go into the ice cream shop. Weigh the earth. Let's see what else we got here. The U.S. purchases, John, the Virgin Islands, this week, 1916. Do you want to take a guess? We purchased them from Denmark, which I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, yeah.
Do you want to go take a guess? You're really good at guessing.
Okay,
the purchase prices.
1916, the Virgin Islands, I'm going to guess they purchased for $35 million.
You're really close.
Really?
25 million.
Wow.
In gold. The following year, it was ratified, and the U.S. took possession. The U.S. Virgin Islands are the only place in the U.S. where traffic drives on the left. I didn't know that.
Really?
So I don't know what that's all about. It retained its little Denmark vibe there.
Do you think there's like a historical Price is Right I could go on? Wouldn't that be like I keep guessing close to the?
Yeah.
Of course, I was $10 million over, and if you go over, you don't get to go up.
The next guy goes $1, Bob.
Right.
And then he gets it.
1/6 pence.
He gets to go to the Virgin Islands. That's your prize. Let's see. This was interesting to me. The U.S. Coast Guard was founded, but do you know the original name of the U.S. Coast Guard?
I know who founded it.
Do you? It didn't say that. This was 1790.
Yeah, I know. The person, it
became the U.S. Coast Guard in 1915.
The impetus of the U.S. Coast Guard was Alexander Hamilton.
Do you know what it was originally called? You'll never guess it in a million years.
Then, yeah.
The Revenue Cutter Service.
Hey, that'd be why Alexander Hamilton did it. He was the Secretary of the Treasury.
But how did that end up in the Coast Guard?
Because this is about imports.
Oh, so it's because there's a bunch of
taxation
ne'er-do-well stuff going on.
Right, tariffs and things like that. So, yeah, it's to regulate. It was all to regulate commerce and trade. Yeah.
Well, anyway.
It became more of a security force as well then. So,
John, this week, 1693, champagne was invented.
Really? That's late.
1693?
I would have figured it was earlier than that.
Do you want to? Well, I guess they were making wine, but this was kind of like, let's put some fizz in this.
Well, they don't put fizz in it.
Let's make this fizzy.
They don't. You know that, by the way.
How does it get made?
You know, it's
sparkling champagne. He just invented the process. He was originally tasked with the job of removing the bubbles since they had a tendency to cause the bottles to burst. This could create a hazardous and costly chain reaction when other bottles broke due to the shock caused by the initial breakage. So he kind of improved the process so the fizziness wouldn't cause the bottles to break. Do you want to know? Do you have an idea who invented that process?
Well, I know what happened in the Champagne region. For real, champagne has to come from Champagne.
If you guessed a name, you would probably get it. If you guessed a name associated with champagne, you would get it.
Brute.
No.
Bubbly.
What's the most expensive champagne you can get at a restaurant?
Johnny, I've got nothing.
Dom Perignon.
Oh.
Dom Perignon.
Well, there you go.
So literally the one champagne that we would know, or normal people would know.
Right.
I figured you would get it because you're a big boozer. I'm kidding. John's not a boozer.
Guys, I have a bottle of champagne here right now.
We crack it open after every episode. Cheers, John. Another episode. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, John, I had one more for you. This one's gonna blow your mind. Probably not. I had it. Oh. Born this week, 1902. Died 1987, sadly. American actress, TV personality, Clara Peller. She was famous for the "Where's the Beef" ad.
No way.
In 1984. Remember those Wendy's commercials?
Yes.
I did not know this part. So if you don't remember the commercial, it's a woman. Basically, Wendy's was saying, we have the big hamburgers. They hang over the bun.
Right.
The patty's so big, and they're the big square ones. Meanwhile, if you go to McDonald's, wherever, they got these tiny, the bun is covering you have to lift it up. And so this old lady goes, "Where's the beef?" And the bun is gigantic, and it's very cartoonic almost.
Yeah.
But I did not know this part. Wendy's sales jumped 31% during the ad campaign.
Holy
So
cow.
you talk about success.
Yeah, somebody should get a raise.
Yeah. Peller was paid actor scale wages of $317.40 per day for the first commercial. It is reported that she was paid $500,000 for the series of commercials that followed. Wow. So she cashed in. So go, Clara.
What a good agent.
With yourself.
She died when? 87?
87.
So she only lived
She
for
only
3
lived
years.
for 3 more years after that commercial. That's kind of sad.
Wow.
Hopefully she got a chance to enjoy the winnings.
Yeah.
She became an overnight sensation, went on to appear on TV talk shows, Saturday Night Live, and even served as a guest timekeeper for the Battle Royale at WrestleMania 2, which I did not remember. You probably have to say, "Where's the beef?" Whatever you do.
Right.
They get all those men in the ring. "Where's the beef?" Hey.
Yeah.
And then Sergeant Slaughter pile drives her. That's probably what happened to her. We don't know. We don't know how she...
There's no way to know.
She did do another commercial for Prego spaghetti sauce, which I did not know about that.
Where's the pasta?
She wondered, "Where's the beef?" and exclaimed, "I found it. I really found it." Wendy's then terminated her contract, saying she was only allowed to find the beef at Wendy's.
Wow. Yeah. What?
So she kind of used that's the reason.
You can't do that.
No, because what happened was they trademarked "Where's the beef?" So when she says "Where's the beef?"
Whose agent allowed this to happen?
I found the beef in Prego.
So she didn't say "Where's the beef?" She just said, "I found the beef."
No, she said "Where's the beef?"
If she just would have not said those words and just said, "I found the beef,"
I found the beef.
That would have been fine.
Yeah.
If they just would have had us. We understand
Poor Clara.
litigious advertising.
We do.
If there's anything we understand, it's that.
That's all we understand. That's our favorite kind. I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. Johnny, this is episode 271.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Man, we're on a journey, aren't we?
We're barreling down on 300 here.
I listened to a podcast. It's an interview podcast where the guy interviews comedians. And I was scrolling the other day because Gary Muldeer, one of my favorite comedians ever, one of the reasons I became a comic, had an episode on there. He's 83. And so he tells the best stories because he's been in showbiz for 60 years or whatever. So I was looking to find it, and I was having to scroll. This podcast has over 1,200 episodes.
Holy moly.
And they're all over an hour long. So I was just like, holy.
I feel very unaccomplished all of a sudden.
So, yeah. So when you scroll down hours, you have to do this. It's like when you're scrolling for your age. Hawkins has a bit about that, about how like when you're scrolling for your age on something, you're like, whew, your finger gets tired. You're like, I'm not even to the 70s yet.
That happened to me yesterday, actually. Yeah. Some whatever I was filling out, it was very strange. And I literally had to scroll down like 6 screens to get to 1978.
Got smoke coming off your phone.
Wow, that was humbling.
78, man.
It was a good year.
Was it?
I'm
sure it was.
I remember a lot about it. So for the 3 days I was in, it was December 28th. So
that's right. You weren't even there long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listeners, you should check out, though, those 271 episodes at our website.
Talk about that podcast.com.
Yeah.
And we love our listeners.
We do.
Thanks for listening. More clips on the way and more good things. More tour dates at johnnyw.com. More books at johndriver.com.
Yep. All the things.
All the things. John, I want to say, too, that you never promote this, but you're one of the teaching pastors here at the church. And you preached last week. And you preach usually every other week. And those, you can watch those sermon videos on our website. What's the church website,
You can go to
John?
grovemj.com.
Grove MJ. Y'all shortened it. Because it used to be the Church at Pleasant Grove.
We have all 3. They're
you bought them all?
You can go to the Church of Pleasant Grove. Or Church
Listen,
of
I'm not
Pleasant
trying to tell
Grove.
the church how to spend its money. Y'all want to buy all the domains you want. Good
You can go to
grief.
Grove Church MJ or just grovemj.com. Yeah, I did share a whole sort of testimony from Jeremiah, from his scribe Baruch. It was a little confessional. So felt like too much about me, though, Johnny. I'm sorry.
No, I thought it was good.
I didn't.
But what am I going to say?
Right. Or you can be like, yeah, it was, John. A little self-indulgent or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. That's what a real film
No,
is.
I'm telling people to go watch it and go watch
You
the
know
other.
what? You are.
The many archived sermons.
You've been a better friend than me on the podcast today.
Okay.
I think we can both admit that.
I just hope it's not raining anymore.
Yeah, we've got the shades down. I can't
When we
tell.
go out, I hope that here comes the sun.
Because you're driving to Clarksville and I'm driving to Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
So.
We're going opposite directions.
In life, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Yeah. And listener, we will be back next week on
Talk About That.